Mikel Arteta's Arsenal just keep on winning, as our European travels brought us to Norway, to a ground where Bodo Glimt had won 14 games in a row, but where a young Arsenal team showed their maturity, with a Bukayo Saka goal being enough to collect all 3 points. So from a Matt Turner masterclass to Mikel Arteta's tactical experiments, let's break the game down and discuss the 5 things we learnt from Bodo Glimt 0, Arsenal 1. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and we are here to discuss yet another Arsenal victory. It wasn't vintage Arsenal, but a win is a win. 3 points is 3 points. So smash a like if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and help your boy as we close in to 200,000 subscribers. But starting off with the sweeper keeper. Mr. Matty Turner is a goalkeeper that Arsenal signed in the summer transfer window to back up Aaron Ramsdale, and in his last start against Bodo Glimt, your boy was very critical over his kicking, but in this game he showcased to all the Arsenal fans that he is still a pretty capable goalkeeper. A 7.6 overall rating with 1 save, 5 out of 5 successful runouts, 46 touches, 23 accurate passes and 11 accurate long balls. He isn't no Aaron Ramsdale on the ball when it comes to zinging the balls out wide, but goalkeepers also have many other facets to the game, and one being a sweeper keeper. Arsenal deploy a very high line, and that means there's a lot of space in behind. But on 5 different occasions, we saw the anticipation of Matt Turner and his quickness off the line. Matt Turner is a goalkeeper that seems to excel at the basics. A very decent shot stopper, he's very decisive and quick off his line, but in terms of his main attribute and his biggest strength is his ability to save penalties, as during his time in the MLS, Turner had the highest save rate of any MLS goalkeeper. It's something that's going to be very important, especially in the knockout games, where if a game goes to penalty in the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League, that is when I believe we will see Matt Turner come into his own. But what did you guys make of Matt Turner's performance, and do you believe he was the Arsenal man of the match? Moving on to the second thing, and that is controlled chaos. To many of the Arsenal fans that watched this game, it was a bit of a ball fest, and even in terms of the expected goals, it was a pretty close game of 0.68 to Bodo Glimt and 0.72 to Arsenal. But I think Arsenal fans have to understand that going to Bodo Glimt is not an easy game. This is the same team last season in the Europa Conference League group stages that smashed Roma 6-1, the team that went on to win the trophy. And going into this game, Bodo Glimt had won 14 European home games in a row. That is the most that any team has managed since Barcelona in 2017. It's one of those performances where you won't speak about it too often, but you collect the 3 points. And if we break down the other stats, Arsenal had more possession, more passes completed, had slightly more field tilts, a lot more final third entries, and cast your eyes right to the bottom of PPDA, passes per defensive action. Bodo Glimt 15.1 and Arsenal 20.8. So essentially Arsenal are allowing 20 passes to Bodo Glimt before we try to press. And that is the most that Arsenal have allowed so far in any game this season. It just goes to show that in this game, Arsenal weren't as aggressive in their press. They weren't trying to impose themselves. And even on the ball, they were trying to keep it simple and slow the game down over being too progressive. As Mikel Arteta says, the conditions, the pitch, it's another element. You could see sometimes it was too fast for us. To an Arsenal team that is so used to playing on a natural grass pitch, to go and change that to an artificial one, it can be difficult to adapt. And you can see it straight away with the way that Arsenal played. It was very slow, it was very passive, and we couldn't find that many passing patterns. And here's a stat for you guys that Arsenal scored from their only shot on target. And as Bukayo Saka says, I think it came off my lips. It was a nice one. It was far from a Bukayo Saka screamer, but a goal is a goal, and in this game, it proved to be very decisive. And in terms of goals, Bukayo Saka has now directly been involved in 8 goals in his previous 7 starts for Arsenal. This is what Saka does. He always has slowish starts to the season, but as the games progress, we are seeing a better Bukayo Saka, and in that final third, he's becoming even more decisive. In terms of Arsenal's performance, it was actually impressive in a different way than normal. Bodo Glimt made a very good start and they were aggressive straight away. The fans were bouncing, the atmosphere was electric. I was actually very impressed to see this Arsenal team show a bit of maturity by going, listen, these guys want the ball, they want a fast-paced game, let's slow the game down, let's play some simple passes. We can't always expect a 10 out of 10 performance, but if Arsenal want to become a winning team, especially away from home, you have to find a way to win even when you're not at your best. Moving on to the third thing, Arteta's tactical experiments. Arsenal fans finally got what they have called for, Martin Odegaard and Fabio Vieira starting in the same team. Surely Arsenal are going to play a 4-3-3, but in fact my friends, Mikel Arteta threw a bit of a curveball and Arsenal started with a 4-2-3-1, with Fabio Vieira playing alongside Sambi Lokonga as a midfield pivot, also playing a lot more on the left hand side. For me it was a bit of a surprise. Now in terms of his performance, on the ball it was pretty solid, with 49 touches, 40 accurate passes, a 95% passing accuracy and 9 out of 10 accurate long balls. But by no means was it a standout performance, and I believe if you want to maximise Fabio Vieira's strengths, he is far better suited on the right hand side. But by starting him in a midfield pivot, was this Mikel Arteta trying to coach Fabio Vieira into becoming the long-term successor of Granit Xhaka? But I believe going into the future, if we're going to play more of Odegaard and Vieira in the same team, which Arsenal definitely will, I'd prefer it to be with Odegaard on the left-hand side and Fabio Vieira on the right. In terms of Albert Sambi Lokonga though, again on the ball he kept it very nicely, with a 94% passing accuracy. And I think on the ball you're seeing Sambi grow in confidence game by game, where he's taking players on, he's turning a lot more, and he's getting that passing range a bit similar to Thomas Partey. And in terms of keeping the ball, Sambi is up there with the best, with only John Stones keeping the ball more than Sambi Lokonga in terms of pass completion in the entire Premier League. But the issue that persists with Sambi is off the ball, and the Arsenal midfield still just seems a little bit open if we're not playing Thomas Partey. And this is where I'm kind of torn on Sambi Lokonga, because on the ball there's definitely a lot of excellence, but is he ever going to be the player off the ball that Arsenal require as a number 6? Well, at 22 years of age, he certainly has a lot of time. Moving on to the fourth thing, and that is Kieran Tierney in midfield. It looks like Kieran Tierney's days of playing as a high and wide left back, almost as a winger, are kind of over, as in this game on many occasions KT was playing almost as a midfielder, as Arsenal built up in a 3-2 formation with the back three of Holding, Saliba and Ben White, and then the midfield of Sambi Lokonga and Kieran Tierney. Even when you look into Kieran Tierney's heat map, there's clearly two different parts to his game. He is still getting forwards, but he's also got a lot of his game playing deeper and playing as an inverted fullback. If you're going to maximise the strengths of Kieran Tierney, he has to still be able to go forwards and to pick and choose his moments. But I also believe that he realises if he wants to start over Zinchenko and now even Tomiyasu, Tierney will have to perfect his inverted game. But in front of Kieran Tierney, there was Reece Nelson, and in terms of his performance, it was pretty hit and miss. One thing that stands out straight away is the fact that he still has a very good burst of pace. He's still very direct and he can definitely carry the ball. But that being said, in terms of being decisive in that final third and comparing him to Gabriel Martinelli or Bukayo Saka, he is pretty wasteful at times and he's definitely a level below. But I also don't want to be too overly critical, as this was Nelson's first start since the Conference League final last season. But moving on to the fifth thing, and that is 3-point collectors. Now, we've already established that Bodo Glimt away from home was never going to be an easy game. That being said, the fact that Arsenal made 7 changes and were able to fully rest the likes of Gabriel Jesus, secure the victory, and most importantly, despite PSV winning 5-0 in their game against FC Zurich, with 3 wins out of 3, Arsenal are still top of their Europa League group. And staying top is going to be very important. Not only are PSV in fantastic form with 11 goals in their 3 Europa League games, but if Arsenal don't finish top of the group, they will have to play a last 32 playoff game against a team dropping down from the Champions League. And when you have the likes of Barcelona, Juventus and other top teams potentially dropping down, plus the pressure of an added game, it's all setting up our next game against PSV at the Emirates Stadium to be quite a big one. But in terms of Arsenal, we have now made it 11 wins out of 12 so far this season, scoring 29 goals in the process, conceding 11 and keeping 5 clean sheets. Arsenal have now won more games across all competitions this season than any other Premier League club. Arsenal are making winning a habit, and that is very important, because if we want to compete against a Man City team that wins games for fun, this current form has to become the norm. And Arsenal have also now made it 29 competitive matches in a row without a draw, with our last draw being 0-0 against Burnley in January. These are all very positive stats, but now we move to the future, as next up Arsenal face Leeds away from home. Then it's a home game against PSV, then Southampton and PSV away, Nottingham Forest at home, and FC Zurich at home. In our current form, the games are certainly winnable, but at the same time, a lot of games away from home. The next one is at Ellen Road, and that is not going to be easy. Leeds can be a very good team at home. They have some very decent players, and we can't forget that Jesse Marsch's team has already smashed the likes of Chelsea. It's definitely not going to be an easy game, so the fact that Arsenal are able to rest the likes of Gabriel Jesus, it is going to be very important, and I am looking forward to the game. But in terms of today, it wasn't a vintage Arsenal performance, it was a little bit of a ball fest. So you know what I can't get bored of, and that's 3 points. And Arsenal have now made it 33 points out of a possible 36 in all competitions so far this season. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you have, make sure to go down there, smash a like and subscribe if you are new. Make sure to follow your boy in all of his social medias, and all the links are down below in the description. But that was the 5 things that we learned from Bodo Glimt 0, Arsenal 1. It wasn't a performance that you'll tell your grandchildren about, but if wins are getting boring, then long may that continue. I will see you guys next time. Take care, and in a bit.